Imagine your journey in life is about loving yourself, believing in yourself, having complete self-acceptance, and trust in yourself. What would your world look like if you tapped into knowing and acted on that knowing? How different would your life sound if you were certain and sure of yourself? What if you were just delighted in being you? Who would you be if you belonged to yourself, to the earth, and to God? Hello, I'm Natica Ramphal-Bhoola, and today I'm very honored to be in the company of Adele Pillay, life coach and author of the book, Nelka.
Thank you, Natica. That was a wonderful introduction.
Yes, and actually that introduction was inspired by the book Nelka, because basically that comes from the themes in the book Nelka. So yes, thank you for being my inspiration.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. So today, Adele, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak to you about Nelka and giving us more insights on your journey when you were writing Nelka. So, Adele, tell us about yourself.
So I'm a life coach and an author, and I've always wanted to become an author, and so that was my inspiration for writing Nelka. It's just my thoughts and my feelings, and it's self-published. And I said to my publishers, don't change a word. So that's basically who I am and why I did Nelka.
Awesome. So take us back to that very first moment when Nelka was published. So tell us, what did you see, what did you hear, and how did you feel when you first held Nelka in your hands?
I still feel it. I mean, it was Easter Monday. I had gone to the post office to go and fetch her, and I jumped into my car and I just sat there and I held her. And it was like holding a baby, because I felt like everything that I had experienced on the inside, I could finally see on the outside. And what I loved about her was I made the cover black for all the challenges I had gone through, or she had gone through. And it's really my story. I mean, Nelka's really, it's my challenges with weight. It's the feeling of not being enough. But I asked them to put the name in rainbow colors, because my favorite song is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And really it's to always have hope and to look up. Wow. And the fairy dust is for the magic, because that is something that speaks to my soul. When you say the word magic, it just lights something in me. So this for me is a magical woman. Being here with 3 other women, I mean, it's just the most amazing thing in my home. And I think the most sacred thing about it is that we came to live here when I was 10 years old. So we've been living here for 39 years, and this space is like my church. So it's such an honor, it's so magical to share this moment with all of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome, Adele. What would be your message to all those aspiring writers who want to tell their story, like you told your story in Nelka?
So when you read the introduction, that for me, I think is the ultimate high, that somebody got what I was trying to say in Nelka. And it's to believe in yourself no matter what. And I think we're living in a time where people, especially women, are looking at their worth in terms of a relationship or a partner, whether I'm single or married. It's like what somebody else says about me that makes me worthy. But that's not true.
Yes.
You should be full in yourself. You have a purpose on earth, and you are here to fulfill that purpose. And so I think the line that speaks to my life is my love story with God. That's all it is, in its most basic form. And so even as a child, I always knew that I was his child. And so it didn't matter what happened to me. It's just about believing in yourself and going forward, just pulling your life forward a little bit at a time.
Okay. So would one of the themes in your book be believing in yourself?
Totally. See, I even have a bracelet.
geez. Oh wow, look at this bracelet. Awesome. So, sitting here in this moment, do you believe that having that faith in yourself, having that love for yourself has brought you full circle?
I know that. I know that. So I wrote Nelka when I was unemployed, and it was the hardest thing to do. But I read somewhere that if you wanted to achieve a goal, write it down in 3 words. And so I said, publish my book, but I didn't have a book.
Okay.
So what was I going to publish? So I went to my computer, and I'm always writing things, and I picked up this piece of work that I had written, and I said, there is something here. There's a magic here. Let me complete it. And so I took it, I cleaned it up, and I released it to the world. So definitely.
Awesome. So you mentioned that during that time when you were writing Nelka, you were unemployed. So if you had to describe your inner landscape, what would it be?
I was challenged at the time. I didn't have money, which if I look back now was a blessing, because I think money can distract you from what you're meant to do, because you can just add stuff into your life. And when there's no money, it's actually like your life is very clear. You need to have money to provide for your basic needs, but everything else is just stuff that accumulates. So I didn't have money. I was feeling very down. My daughter was at college and I didn't have a car. And there was a deep sense of shame and being, just feeling so inadequate, like what kind of decisions have I made in my life that have brought me to this space? I was really angry at myself.
So would you say that you had feelings of being a victim or helplessness at that point?
Helplessness and powerlessness. I just felt useless, totally inadequate.
Okay.
But I thought to myself, if this time is to teach me anything, it's to become very dedicated to my goals. And I've always, even as a little girl, I've loved the English language. I love words, so believe means something to me. I mean, it just triggers me in the most fantastic way. And I said to myself, I'm going to publish my book. The first thing I'm going to do when I start working is save money and publish my book. And so I had written her, got a prize for her, and a friend of mine at work had said, do what you need to do but get her published. And I took an advance on my salary. My debit orders bounced. I didn't have money for the next 3 months, but that was great because I had a book. And so it's really taking that risk in saying, I have to do this because this is my soul's mandate. This is my contract I had with myself as a little girl.
So would you say that when you were writing Nelka, did you feel like on purpose? Awesome.
Very, very aligned, very clear. Even though, I was going through struggles, but when I found work, I realized that I need to start doing things for myself to further my voice.
So tell us, Adele, the title of your book is Nelka. Why Nelka? Do you have a special reason why you chose the name Nelka?
So at the time, I didn't have access to the internet, and I thought I made up the name. But it's actually a Polish name, and it means stone. And if you read Nelka's story and how she started out, it's so apt that her heart was so full of stuff. We talk about the pot plant and, there were weeds in her heart. And I think that was my life. There was so much unforgiveness. And so I had to let go. And so that was the process of writing and just digging really deep into what worked for me and what were the small solutions to my life and then putting it into a story.
Great. So interestingly enough, earlier on Adele mentioned that she chose the color black as the background color, and you mentioned that black represented the challenges that you faced. So I want to ask you, when you were writing, Nelka, did you have any doubts or any fears about writing the book and how it would be received by your readers?
It's quite daunting to put a book out because you're putting out your voice. You're saying to people, these are my thoughts and my feelings. And a lot of people have come back to me to say, I see you in your book and it is me. And so that's you exposing a very vulnerable side of yourself. But there's another side to it in that so many people have connected to the pain and to the shame. And so my perception has always been that only people who are overweight have low self-esteem. But I met a very skinny friend from school and she loved the book, and I said, how is it that you identify with low self-esteem? And I think really that's all our challenge. It's our battle within ourselves that we need to overcome. So that was very delightful. I've had lots of insight from other people as to which parts of the book represented their lives.
Okay, so I want to ask you, how did you overcome those challenges? And for all those aspiring writers out there who are having doubts and fears about putting out their story to the universe, what would your advice be to them to overcome those barriers and challenges?
I think it's the greatest risk that I took with benefits that I never ever imagined. I never imagined this, an interview with you. I never imagined that you would read the book and that you would love it. I never imagined that I would one day want to put it into schools as an allo book, because my passion is children, and I'm just thinking, if we can say to them, you are great just the way you are, wouldn't that be amazing? That nobody had to feel the feelings that I had to deal with all these years later.
That is so inspiring, Adele. So people out there that want to write a book, go out there. Just do it.
Do it.
Just do
It is
it.
so worth it. The world needs your story. It can touch just one life, and that will be worth it.
Okay. Now for the exciting bit. What are your plans for Nelka?
So I'm working with a school in Actonville, which is my former community. I come from Actonville, and it's a place that's very dear to my heart. Growing up, I saw my parents do lots of community work in Actonville, and there was a fierce sense of closeness. And Actonville, I think, has just lost its identity. And so it needs a lot of love, it needs a lot of input, it needs hope, and it needs courage. And my dream is to take it to a school in Actonville, and we are going to be helping teachers create life skill lessons for kids, and we are going to empower them to have a vision, to believe in themselves, to take their lives back, and to just run with it in the direction of their dreams. So that's going to be amazing.
Oh wow, I can't wait to be part of that as well, Adele.
You are. You are.
Thank you for allowing me to be part of this journey, and such an amazing, empowering journey. So, what would you say are the most rewarding experiences you had around putting Nelka out into the universe and getting feedback from your readers?
So, part of my passion now is to coach women. And really, I mean, it's the honor of my life to have gone through my journey and my pain, and to now sit and just hold a space for women to come and say, I am falling apart, or I don't know what my next step is, and for me to guide them. And so giving them Nelka as a resource and saying, look at how you can improve your self-esteem. There's been such overwhelming feedback where people have come back and said, Thank you. Thank you for writing her. And so I would like to do t-shirts. And I think something that you said, Nat, has always stayed with me. When I met you, I always on the inside, no matter what my weight was, I always felt perfect. It didn't matter how I looked on the outside, I felt perfect. And when I met you, what did you say to me?
I'm enough the way I am.
And imagine if we gave every woman that when she's raising her children, she's enough. That when she's single, she's enough. That if she chooses to never marry or never have a child, she is enough. And it's to take us away from just being caregivers, to really just like it who we are. And that's my message. And I think that's why
we chat to each other.
So that's been amazing. That's been the bonus. And I think that's what we need to say to people. No matter your pain today, if you believe in your life, if you take time to treat your life as sacred, you're going to meet the most amazing souls. And today is testament to that. So thank you.
Thank you. So now, we're going to do something very exciting.
Okay.
We are going to do a Nelka challenge. All right. So
did I read the book? Read the book quickly.
No, you're going to be great at it. Okay. So it's going to be a Nelka challenge. I'm going to ask you questions and I want you to answer them as quick as possible and answer them from that place of knowing that you speak about.
Okay.
All right. So, ready, Adele?
I am.
All right, let's start. If Nelka was turned into a movie, into a movie script, who would play the lead role?
Pamela Nomveti.
And why, Pamela?
Because she is the most brilliant African actress that I've ever come across.
Awesome. If there was a sequel to Nelka, what would the title be?
Crazy Me.
Crazy Me, awesome.
Okay.
If there was a song that would represent Nelka, what would it be?
Somehow Lionel Richie's Face in the Crowd comes up because it talks about a love that's not physical. It's a love that when you actually go to sleep and you go into your soul state, that's where you meet your partner.
Okay. What colors are on the cover of Nelka?
Black and the colors of the rainbow.
Awesome.
And some fairy dust, silver.
Okay, great. What shift did Nelka experience in her journey?
The journey from being fat and overweight and ashamed to being enough.
Awesome. Who did you dedicate this book to?
It's actually dedicated to my dad, who's been an incredible force in my life, and who gave me the first lessons of just trust yourself. You're going to be okay. And he died a month before my 16th birthday, but he had given me everything. He had instilled in me such a sense of self that I know whatever happens in my life, I'm going to be okay. So it's my tribute to him.
Okay. In which year was Nelka published?
2013, I think.
2012.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
Where were you when you first held Nelka in your hands for the very first time?
I was in Amstel Avenue, outside the post office in Oni Town.
Are you serious? I actually lived in Amstel Avenue, nearby actually.
Wow.
Great. What did the flower Precious represent in the book?
It represents looking for beauty outside, and I think that's nature. That God is always reminding us just how authentic we can be, just how real we can be. We don't need makeup, we don't need anything, just be. And that's the difference between being and doing. I love doing, I love being busy, I love a lot of things. But my finest moments is just sitting back and being. So this for me would be a being moment.
Okay. If Precious could speak, what would her message be at the end of the book to Nelka?
That you were always magical, that you were always enough, but you allowed people and things to chip at you, and you didn't have to.
Wow. Maybe we should look at letting Precious be the next lead role in one of your books.
Okay.
Okay. What is your favorite color?
Lilac and rose pink. Rose pink, I would say.
Lilac and rose pink. Okay. So what does those colors like represent to you?
They represent tenderness. To always be compassionate. To go through stuff, challenges, to forgive everybody, but most importantly, to forgive myself.
Great. Wow, Adele, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that playful side with us, and we really appreciated that. That was fun. So please tell us, so where can we purchase the book, Nelka?
You can purchase it online. I would like to get it into stores this year, but definitely you can just go online and buy a copy, or through the publishers, which are Author House.
Author House. So online, which sites can
Amazon.
Amazon.
Kalahari.
Okay.
Take a lot.
Take a lot. Great. And also, your plans with regards to having workshops for aspiring writers? Tell us, would you like to be involved in that?
Absolutely. So we've had an author's workshop. If you look at the back, there's you.
Yeah, there's
and it says make a wish. So I think it's time. If you're watching this video and if you have a book inside you or you've written it, I think the most important thing that I did with Nelka is after I had written it, I went to go and clean it up, and they call it taking a knife to your work and cutting out all the pieces that's not inspirational or that doesn't give a great energy. And when you are completely proud of your work, go and put it out there. But yes, I do have workshops every Saturday from 9 until 12.
And
so sign up.
Can you let your viewers know how they can contact you if they are interested in signing up for one of your workshops?
So my cell number is 074-325-7751, or you can get hold of me at coaching@adelepillay.com.
Thank you. So I like to end with some positive affirmations from the book, Nelka. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to read out the themes of the book, and I want you to give me a positive affirmation. Okay. Self-love.
I like me. I think that would be, I like me.
Next one. Complete self-acceptance.
Believing in your dreams.
Complete trust in self.
Listen to that inner voice.
Tapping into knowing.
Act on what you know. Speak up. If there's injustice happening somewhere, whether it's in your workplace or in your life, have a voice. Speak up.
Acting on knowing.
Be clear about what you want.
Certain in me.
I think before you leave home every morning on your way to work, make sure that you're looking great, because that says a lot about you. You are your own brand.
Wow. Sure of me.
Do things that just feel so awesome and easy for you.
Delighting in me.
Take time to celebrate your achievements.
I belong to me.
Just start taking pride in yourself. No matter what your size or your height, you are perfect just the way you are.
I belong to God.
I think that's my identity. Just being a child of God. Because that frees up everything. I don't have to be anybody else. I don't have to be anything else. And I can just go and live my life.
So, what is your hashtag for this year, Adele?
Hashtag God.
And if Nelka had a hashtag, what would her hashtag be?
Hashtag bliss.
Awesome. To the viewers out there, thank you for joining us. Remember to love and believe in yourself. You are deserving. You are worthy. You are worthy. Thank you.